Hey, how y'all doing? All right, Major Slack here. Welcome back to my Dead Space 2 Hardcore Run, Part 2 of Chapter 1. Let's talk a little bit about who exactly is Major Slack. Um, okay, true confession time, and I'm only going to say this once, so listen up closely, okay? My real name, I know a lot of you have asked me this, okay? My real name, are you ready? Drum roll, please. My real name is Rob. Rob. And I was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I currently reside in Montreal, Quebec. And I am indeed 52 years old. Yeah, that's right. I was born in 1959. And watch my 20 push ups video for more info on that. Now, I have been an avid video gamer since video games were invented. I'm not kidding you. And really, seriously. Like, I was right there when they first came out with Pong at the local arcade. Okay? And I know Pong isn't very exciting by today's standards, but that's what we had back then. And let me fill you in on what used to go on back in the day. Back in my day, we used to have to play video games using only the keyboard. We didn't have no fancy smancy mouse. We just used the keyboard like real men. We used to have to walk 20 miles through a blinding snowstorm to get to school. You know, you young whippersnappers don't know nothing about suffering. And let me tell you something that... Okay, I'll shut up now. No, but seriously, back in my day, we didn't have video game arcades like you have today. What we had was pinball arcades, okay? That's what we all went to downtown for entertainment. And one day in the early 70s, when we went down to our local arcade, we saw a new machine that was like a TV screen, and you put quarters into it and had this little joystick on it, and there's like these two little dashes on the screen and a little white dot, and the little white dot bounced back and forth in between these two paddles, and it's like you played tennis with this. You know, yeah, this was the one of the first video games that we ever played. It was called Pong. All right, Pong. Yeah, this is pretty much the birth of video games. And when we saw that, okay, like by today's standards, it's really crappy. I mean, you know, there's no graphics, there's nothing. It's just like the most simplest video game you could ever think of. But back then, when we saw that, we were aghast. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe that you could actually play a video game on a TV screen. Yeah, I was right there when they first came out with Pong. And yes, that's right. I played all the early video game arcade classics like Missile Command, Space Invaders, Tank, which is kind of an early Command and Conquer. Literally put buckets and buckets of change into a game called Defender. That was a great game back then. Yeah, I was right there. I was right there when video gaming was first born. Yeah, I've been gaming for like almost 40 years. Really? Yep, what are you doing playing video games, Grandpa? Yeah. Started getting into video game consoles in the mid 90s. Bought a Super Nintendo in 95 for the express purpose of being able to play Doom anytime I wanted, because a buddy of mine was heavily into Doom at the time, and he used to invite me over to play Doom, or so I thought. I eventually realized that what he really meant was, do you want to come over and watch me play Doom? And so he'd be playing along, and I'd be there like every once in a while going, hey, that looks like fun, can I try? And he'd be like, yeah, in a minute, Rob, just a minute. And like just going away, And he'd play for another hour, and then I'd be like, hey, wow, that looks like fun, can I try? He'd go, yeah, in a minute, Rob, in a minute, hang on a second, I just want to finish this level. Okay. In fact, for the most part, the only time I ever got to play was when he finally got tired and stopped to have a cigarette or something, and yeah, late one night he fell asleep, and I had his computer all to myself, and I stayed up all freaking night playing Doom, and he gets up in the morning and goes, Rob, what the fuck, are you still here? And I'm thinking, okay, I think it's time to get a console. So I went out and bought my first Super Nintendo, 1995, and played the crap out of Doom. And then went over to another buddy's place and was watching him playing Tekken 2 on this new kind of console called the PlayStation. And I was going, wow, those graphics are just fantastic. Well, back then it was fantastic. And so I just had to have Tekken 2. So forgot all about my Super Nintendo, went out and bought a PlayStation, and then got heavily into PlayStation gaming and played a lot of fight games. Fell in love with Command and Conquer. Played a lot of Command and Conquer. In fact, I actually bought two PlayStations so we could hook them up like in tandem and play Command and Conquer head to head. So that was like kind of like my first multiplayer experience. And we even had a little club of about 8 to 10 guys who used to meet regularly and have tournaments, Command and Conquer tournaments, playing mostly Red Alert, Command and Conquer Red Alert. Another game I really got into back then on PlayStation was Resident Evil. I was right there when Resident Evil 1 first came out. Pretty much was one of the first to buy it. And I played the crap out of that too. I think I mentioned this another time in another one of my videos. I actually had the world's record for the fastest run through Resident Evil. That was in '97. By today's standards, it's really slow. But back in '97, the world's record for getting through Resident Evil was 2 hours and 2 minutes, and I beat it. I had the world's record. I had beaten the game in 1 hour and 58 minutes. Yeah, so that's how much I was into it. Yeah. But like I said, that's really slow by today's standards. I think the record now is 1 hour and 8 minutes. Anyway, yeah. So back then, that was pretty much the first time I ever gave any thought to writing up a strategy guide for a video game. And I started writing up a strategy guide for Resident Evil, but I eventually abandoned it because I was thinking, okay, who am I doing this for? Because back then, I didn't have my own computer, and the internet was pretty much a new thing, So only super geeks had computers and were on the interweb, so to speak. So it's kind of like just writing it up by hand for my own enjoyment. But yeah, I really got into writing up strategy guides for video games. That was one of the first times I thought about doing that. As for PC gaming, I guess you'd call me a late bloomer. I only really heavily started getting into PC gaming around 2002, 2003. Largely because I wanted to write up my own missions for Command and Conquer, which I did, and I have those videos up here on my channel if you want to check them out. And then from there on in, I just pretty much abandoned the console because I just loved what you could do with video games on computers, and quite frankly, I never looked back. I've been straight PC gamer ever since. Bought my first heavy-duty rig around 3 or 4 years ago, and bought me up some Crysis and bought me up some Bioshock, and started my channel here on YouTube, and the rest is history. You all know the rest. Yeah. So there you go. That's a little retrospective on exactly who Major Slack is. Now, what have I been doing lately? What I have been doing lately is playing a lot of Dead Space 2. I was playing Dead Space 2 extensively all summer long, as I mentioned in the last video, and I worked out a completely new kick-butt strategy to get through the game on Zealot mode, and I decided to resurrect my dream of writing up a complete strategy guide for a video game, and that's exactly what I did. That is what the secret project is. I've written up a complete comprehensive strategy guide for Dead Space 2. It's called Dead Space 2 Secrets, and it includes everything you want to know about enemies, everything you want to know about all the weapons. I tried out all the weapons extensively, and also a complete walkthrough of the single player campaign. It's rendered as a downloadable PDF compatible with any computer, and it is a whopping 250 pages long. Yeah, it's right up there with the big boys. Basically, it's a detailed compendium of enemy spawn points, spawn patterns, best tactics, advanced strategies, cheap tricks, and cheats, which will help you totally master this game on Zealot and Hardcore mode. It's also good for if you're just playing on normal mode, if you just started out. Don't worry, it's not too advanced for you. So if you don't want to do all the homework involved in figuring out how all the enemies spawn in this game, well, I've done the homework for you. So Slack, how much you asking for this amazing creation of yours? Well, $20. No, wait. $15. No, wait. $12. No, wait. How about $9? $9.99. Yes, that's right, $9.99, and you can own a piece of the Slack.
Well, how about a little taste test, Slack?
Okay, want a taste test? Okay, go to the video description right now and you'll see a link to the Dead Space 2 Secrets information page. And on that page, you can grab yourself a free downloadable sample chapter. Yes, that's right, free downloadable chapter. Go right now and grab yourself up a little taste test of Dead Space 2 Secrets by the one and only Major Slack.
Slack, how exactly do I buy this wondrous, fabulous piece of your gaming intelligence?
How do you buy it? Once again, go to the video description. You'll see a link to the information/order page and click through on the buy now button and you'll be taken to PayPal where you can pay for it using your PayPal account or your credit card. No problem.
So, Slack, if I buy it, when do I get it?
Well, if you buy it between 7 and 7 Eastern Time, I will send you your personalized copy of Dead Space 2 Secrets within 3 hours. Actually, you'll most likely get it within 1 hour, but I'm just saying 3 hours just in case I have to go out and run some errands. But you'll get it like within a few hours at the most, typically within 1 hour. And if you buy it after hours, you get it the first thing the next morning. All right, so that's the way it works. I'm here. You guys know I'm here all the time. I'm available. So yeah, check it out and buy it. Alrighty then, so we're coming up to the end of this video. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and you know the drill, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to own a genuine piece of Major Slack's gaming intelligence, go buy my ebook, Dead Space 2 Secrets, on sale right now, $9.99. And if you want a little taste test, there is a free downloadable sample chapter available on the information page. Check out the link in the video description, and that is it for this video. Slack out.